Hi guys, so this video I am going to be talking about, well, it's just a story time, it's just a little story time. I thought, hey, why not, let's do a little story time, because my life has been pretty interesting from ever since I was young, so yeah. And then this story I'm going to be talking about my little ghost encounters or paranormal encounters, I guess, whatever you want to call it. But anywho, yeah, let's get started. So first I want to start with, ever since I've been young, ever since I was like really young, like really youngin', I always have had you know how they say that, little kids tend to see more than adults or even teenagers, or anybody who isn't a kid. Well, yeah, I believe that, because when I was a kid I would always see stuff that wasn't stuff that I really wanted to see. Don't think dirty on that. Don't. But yeah, it would be where there would be times I wouldn't want to leave my room anymore. I just couldn't bear to leave my room when I was smaller. Or even till now, I still don't want to leave my room, but it's not because, oh my god, I'm scared, but it's more like I got used to the fact that I don't like leaving my room so much. So it's pretty much been like a normal thing. So anywho, when I first moved here to America, I lived in a little small house with my parents and all, and we both had a room together. Like, we had two bedrooms, two like queen bedrooms, and then I remember that one time I was sleeping, right? So when I was sleeping, I was just dreaming, right? And then out of nowhere, I just dream about porcelain dolls being all around me and everything. Like, they're not even new porcelain dolls. Like, some were frequently new, I guess. Like, they're just those porcelain dolls that are smiling but have that weird look to their face, the ones that always stare at you no matter where you go, like their eyes follow you. But anywho, yeah, it wasn't just that. It was some baby dolls or whatever, and they weren't they looked pretty old, if they weren't well taken care of, and they were just I guess hanging around my room or just floating. Also, there were some that were floating, there were some that were just hanging from around or something. I don't really remember so clearly on it because it was way back then. But yeah, and then I remember waking up, and then I just was so scared, so terrified, that later on I heard some footsteps outside the room. I am not a stupid little girl, nor am I right now. No, I'm not like that. And the weird thing about that is, I didn't go out at night or anything like that, or have anything, watch a scary movie or something that would make me think about that, or let alone have a dream about that. So, mind you, I didn't start watching scary movies until I was around maybe 5, and that time when I had that dream I was 3 or 4 or something, I don't know, something like that. And so yeah, I was either 5 or 6 when I first started watching scary movies. But yeah, so anywho, that happened. There was another encounter where we moved from that place, but we still lived in the same neighborhood. We lived with my grandma, and I remember that the kids in my neighborhood, there was a lot of kids in my neighborhood. I still live in this neighborhood now. I mean, I didn't live in the neighborhood before. We lived here, then we moved away, lived in a different neighborhood, but then my mom and my dad got separated, so my mom moved to the neighborhood, my childhood neighborhood that I used to live in, this neighborhood I used to live in as a child, and now we live here again. But anywho, yeah, the kids from my neighborhood, we would always play around in the street and all that, and even till night most of the times, and then they would try to scare me at times and who knows what. And I remember that when we were playing, I remember seeing a guy from far away. I don't know what he was doing. I thought it was just a normal person. It was just guys, do you see that? And they're like, what? that guy over there. And they're like, where? And I'm like, over there. And then some people saw it, some others didn't, I guess. Which was weird for me. And I was just like, the rest of you guys don't see that? And they're like, see that guy? And then they're like, no, you're scaring me. You know what? I'm going to my house. And I'm like, you know what? I think we all should go to our house now. I mean, it is getting kind of dark and our parents are going to get mad at us. And they're like, yeah, okay, well, bye. But that was like really scary for me. It was like scary. In this neighborhood, I didn't really encounter that much paranormal stuff. I would always just feel really paranoid, but wouldn't really have so much encounters, like paranormal encounters or whatever. I wouldn't really until later on. I moved away from this neighborhood and moved to a different neighborhood. Now there, it was a crazy with like a lot of paranormal activity. Now I remember that I had my own room. I finally had my own room. And I would have like 2 bunk beds. Sometimes I would sleep in the top, sometimes I would sleep in the bottom, but most of the times I would sleep in the bottom. So I had 2 beds to myself. And then I remember there was this one time I was staying up late because I just wanted to see if Finding Nemo up late. It wasn't my first time seeing it. I've seen it so many times, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay up late. It was like probably like 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning when I went to sleep, and I think I don't think it was a school night. I'm not sure, but yeah, later on I was kind of starting to fall asleep. You know, my eyes were getting pretty heavy, and I was pretty much starting to go to sleep. I remember I had my eyes closed for like maybe 10 seconds, and then I opened my eyes like slowly again. I look at my TV, and then in the corner, outside of my room. Okay, here's my TV. Here's my TV. Let's see, this whole, how can I say, this is my room. Blah, blah, blah. Alright? Here's my TV, here's the door. The door is literally right here. The TV is right here on a TV stand. And here's the door. The door is right here. And my door was open. Alright? Around that time I didn't close my door. Later on around that time, after that day, I always had my door shut. Right now, I have my door shut. I always have my door shut. Always. But at that time, I was comfortable, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave my door open. And I think I was like around the first month or 2 we lived there. But anywho, yeah, I kind of looked at my TV. I was kind of paying attention to the movie again. And then in the corner, I just see like a guy standing, and I thought it was my dad. You know, I didn't know. So I was like, Dad. Well, I said in Spanish. I was like, Papi, like, Papi, ¿eres tú? Is that you? ¿Eres tú? And then he didn't move, didn't say anything. I thought he was just like fucking around with me and was like I'm gonna wait until she comes and maybe try to scare her or some shit like that. And I was like, no me tratas de espantar. Like, don't try to scare me. And I think I also said, like, I told him like in Spanish, I was like, I'm about to go to sleep. The movie's almost over. The movie's almost over. I'm almost gonna sleep. Like I said, the figure, whatever it was, didn't move. You know, it was literally the same. Well, no, it was a little taller than my dad, but for me, kind of looked like he kind of had the same figure as my dad, but I could be wrong. And I was just like, I got up from I know this is a stupid thing that I did. I know. Don't judge me. I was 5 or 4, or I don't know how old I was, but I was young, so don't judge me. So I get up out of my bed slowly, and I'm just like kind of tiptoeing to him. I don't know why. I really did think it was my dad, but at the same time later on I was kind of like, maybe this isn't my dad. Maybe Could someone have broken in without me noticing? But yet again, I would have noticed because it was a small house. It was a house of 2 rooms, and my room was here, and then here's here's my room, and then there's like this much of space, and then after that space is my parents' room. It wasn't that far. It was relatively really close. It was like my parents' room was like probably like 6 feet away from my room. So and the door from the entrance door was literally like, here's my room, here's a couch, we pass that couch, and then boom, that's the entrance. It's literally not that far away. It was close. But yeah, I would draw a picture, but I'd rather not. So anywho, yeah, I was just kind of getting close to whoever it was, and just thinking in my head, is this my dad? Is this not? So here's a figure, and I'm like right here, right? So I'm kind of getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And once I was like probably like maybe 4 feet away from him, it's like they disappeared. Or yeah, because I looked back. I don't know, I just looked back kind of, which was so stupid. I know, it was stupid to do now that I think about it. I'm like, dude, if it wasn't even a ghost or whatever, it could, and it was a living person that broke into your house, they would have murdered you. But my young, stupid self literally looked back, because I don't know, I had this feeling like, I don't know, maybe someone's behind me, because I was like, wait, I'm not looking behind me. So I looked behind, and then once I looked back, the figure was gone. And I was just like, what? And then I was so confused. I went back to where I was in my room. I went in my room and I was like, I went back and I was like, okay, he's standing right there. I don't see it anymore. I don't see the figure. Was it like a shadow or something? What the hell? I was so confused. And then I laid back in my bed like how I was laid. Maybe I would see the figure there again. Maybe it was just in a position that it was like I only see it or whatever. I tried to retrace my steps, see if I could see what I saw again, and no, nothing. It's like if it wasn't even there to begin with. And then I got out my bed and then walked all the way to my parents' room. And my parents were dead asleep. My dad was snoring, and I was going to wake them up and be like, hey, Dad, did you go to my room? But I felt like, no, maybe even if he did or didn't, especially if he didn't, I would piss him off if I woke him up in the middle of the night. So I didn't wake him up. But the next day, I did tell them. I was like, hey, I did tell my mom, but my mom was there because I know it wouldn't be my mom. It was a figure of a guy. It couldn't have been my mom. So I asked my dad, and I'm like, hey, did you wake up in the middle of the night and check on me? Like, were you right here, right next to the, like, I showed him where. I was like, were you right here next to the couch, like, looking at me while I was watching my movie? And he's like, no, why? And I'm like, yeah, okay, you weren't you? Like, don't lie to me. And he's like, I don't care, I'm not lying to you. Why do you think that? I was like, because I could have sworn I saw you there last night. They're like, you were probably dreaming. I'm like, I wasn't dreaming, I was wide awake. And they're like, no, you were probably, I'm like, I wasn't dreaming. Like, I was getting mad that they were telling me that I was dreaming. I was like, I know from reality to, like, when I'm sleeping to, like, when I'm actually awake. Because I was being steady as a freaking ninja. And I was, like, scared shitless. I remember going to your guys' room, going back to my room, going to sleep, and turning off the lights, turning off the TV. Well, first closing the door, turning off the TV, and then going to sleep. I can remember that. I know that I was fully awake. I was not sleeping. I was getting so mad. At that point, I was just mad, and I was like, you know what? Forget it. If you guys don't believe me, then fine. And then, you know, there was so much more encounters that I'd rather not talk so much because this video would be too long, like ridiculously a little more long than it should be. So I mean, unless you guys want to hear more about that, then I will leave more story time about that. But yeah, it was crazy. Like I said, there was been more, especially in that neighborhood. I moved, like I said, I moved back to the neighborhood I lived in when I was a little kid. Am living here right now, not in the same house, but the same neighborhood. And I don't really have much experience with anything like that anymore. But someone else did, which I will leave for another story someday. But anywho, yeah, after so many more encounters and more stuff happening at the other house, where I said I saw the shadow person, or most likely ghost, my parents took me to this one woman that did some stuff on me, and then I stopped seeing ghosts in general, and probably that's why I don't see or have anything going on where I live now, because I think she cleansed me or something. I don't know. Ever since then, I haven't seen anything really, except for when I turned 11, which I will also leave for another story, because that one was crazy and I actually have proof. But anywho, yeah. Tell me what you guys thought it was. I mean, I honestly, in my opinion, I believe in ghosts and spirits. So, there's no point in saying like, oh, I don't believe in ghosts. This was probably just my imagination. No, I believe in it. I really do. And, yeah, what do you guys think? Do you guys believe in ghosts? Do you guys not? I'd like to know. But anywho, I hope you guys like this little video. I was trying to upload other videos before, but I was like I was gonna do a vlog, but then I'm like, I don't really leave my house so much, so why even bother doing a vlog? And then I'm like, you know what, I'll just do a story time. And yeah, so I hope you guys did like it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below what you thought about my story. And yeah, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. I will try and make as much videos as I can, and if you're not so sure if you want to subscribe, I also upload some other videos on my channel. And yeah, I hope maybe I convince you to subscribe. If not, and you want to wait until I upload more videos and be like, maybe I will subscribe, maybe I won't, I understand. But anyway, yeah, I hope you guys liked it, and as always, from the good and the bad, I'm gonna leave it to you. You go do you, and I'll see you soon. And until then, I'm gonna say goodbye.